Assalamu alaikum, warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Weekly Wisdom. So, my topic today is, are you really ready for divorce, or are you really desperately seeking relief? Okay. And those are completely two different things. And I want to kind of unpack that because I see it all the time in how I support sisters. So, like I hear from women all the time, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I've tried everything and nothing else seems to work. And I'm thinking more and more about divorce. And when you actually take time to slow down, what underneath all of that, what I have found, what I've seen in supporting women is that they're exhausted. They feel unseen. They feel alone. They feel like they don't recognize themselves anymore. And those are two different states to be in. Okay. Now, the core distinction that we really want to be able to separate is clarity, true clarity, versus exhaustion and depletion. And a lot of times people don't understand that they're actually making these decisions from energy of being fed up, and that's exhaustion and depletion, right? And it looks like clarity, okay? Because the exhaustion just feels like there's urgency to it. Like you just can't, there's too much pressure. It's too hard. The load is just too much, and you're looking for relief. It feels like I need to get out of this. I just need relief. And when you're in that whirlwind and that chaos and that confusion, it's hard to discern, hey, is this clarity, or is this just me being done because I'm depleted, I'm exhausted, and I'm not seen, I'm not heard, I'm not um valued, and like I'm just tired of giving and giving and giving, and I've just given. And where has that gotten me? And so the exhaustion that comes with this love, this sense of urgency, like I need to act, or I've been sitting in limbo for years, sometimes even decades, sometimes. And now it's just, that's it. Like I've snapped, or I've, met my breaking point. So that's it. I know that I've stayed in here. I've stayed in this space of heaviness for so long that I need out now, right? That urgency from exhaustion, depletion, that comes up with, I need out now. Like this has to stop. I can't take one more second of this. Whereas when you are really looking from a space of clarity, it's definitely much more calmer and peaceful, and you're able to see big picture. You're not just in this tunnel vision. You're actually able to step back and be like, I understand what is happening inside of me, outside of me, and in this dynamic. I understand my part. I understand how I show up is contributing to, in a relationship, in a marriage, in a relationship, there's two people contributing to the dynamic, and each person has, contributes to what is creating that dynamic. And you're able to recognize, hey, what's my part in this dynamic that has been created? And I understand what it is I'm choosing and why. I'm intentional about the choices that I'm making, and I can own them. I feel good about them, and I can account to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with comfort and be like, I'm doing this for your sake. Okay. And a lot of times, urgency, that sense of pressure, it comes from fear, which we know, that's something that Shaitan perpetuates for us and wants us to lean into. Whereas wisdom, it comes from slowing down, it comes from pausing, it comes from being still in what I call being in the waiting room, in the discomfort with yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the wisdom comes to the surface for you. And so, one of the patterns that is hidden that women don't see underneath all of this, and we uncover this in sessions all the time, women who are contemplating divorce they're not just reacting to their spouse, they're reacting to years of people pleasing, years of self betrayal, or, just abandoning yourself. years of overfunctioning, managing everyone else's emotions, and suppressing or even silencing yourself to keep the peace. And the way people explain that to me when we're working together is I like to avoid conflict. I don't like conflict. So I will just suppress or betray myself. One of the sisters call it, I will just do what the other person wants just to keep the peace, or I will agree. Um, and so eventually what happens after years of that, and most of us are on autopilot. We're not even realizing this is happening underneath the surface. What happens is resentment builds over the years, not only towards your spouse, but towards yourself, because unknowingly, innocently, you're doing this to yourself because many reasons. It's what perhaps you were modeled or shown or trained as, or just what you picked up along the way for survival. And that is survival game. Because the thing is that choosing from the place of I'm done, I've had enough, I've tried everything. Yeah, I'm sure you have tried everything that you know. Okay, but we don't know what we don't know until we know it. The thing is that you can leave your marriage, you can leave your spouse, you can start fresh, but you're not leaving yourself or your patterns. Because if the root issue is self-abandonment, fear of rejection or disapproval, needing validation from outside of yourself, managing other people's feelings, and that pattern is going to stay with you because it's about you. And any new environment, you're still going to have that same internal operating system internally. And that's what we do in Empowered Choices Mastermind. We slow everything down so your level of consciousness that you're operating from can increase, so you can recognize what's happening for me, what's been happening for me, how did I get here, right? And it's so important because it's not about pointing the finger outwards. It's not even about pointing the finger. It's really about understanding, how did I get here? How am I showing up? Taking accountability for your own self. And that's what we do in Empowered Choices. It's not about should I stay or should I go? Like, it's not about being directed into any particular direction. It's really about, like, okay, helping you to understand what are the internal thoughts that are creating your emotional state, identifying where ego and fear are driving that sense of urgency, and rebuilding your connection to strengthen with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and yourself, how you react to yourself, how you think about yourself, how you treat yourself, how you value yourself, how you honor yourself, right? How you respect yourself. And then, as I mentioned, with that higher level of consciousness, which is what is needed to have higher levels of taqwa, which is what is needed to make these type of decisions, not survival mode or trauma, right? And being really able to trust yourself. And that's, you get used a lot, that type of language, but it's learning how to trust yourself, because a lot of us don't know how to do that. Because when you're in a state where you're connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and yourself, you're not desperate for relief. You are learning how to, where will that relief come from? Okay, you're able to discern the difference. And the thing is that, again, going back to Shaitan, he's always wants to see us, he wants to see our downfall. So he is going to put that level of fear. He's going to make those waswasas expanded and louder, of the fear, of the lack, or the insecurity. And that's the wrong thing to lean into. And none of us do it on purpose, but he's so subtle and he takes advantage of us. And he's really good at it. And so we want to lean towards and return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where he invites reflection and hope and possibility, right? And live, really learning to live in that. Whereas where Shaitan's like, okay, no, you got to get out. You can't allow this anymore. You can't do this anymore. You need to get out. This person is causing all of this stuff for you. And we're not negating what's happening in the relationship and what the other person is doing, but that's not what we're talking about here. We start with the self first, and then that is what helps us to understand, how do I help myself in this situation? And when we pause and we slow down and we come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ourselves, right? We're talking about abandoning ourselves and really betraying ourselves. We're really learning, how do I come back home to myself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What does that look like? What does that mean? And how does it play out into learning how to stop abandoning and betraying yourself? Because your decision, this type of decision, is going to impact not only your dunya but your akhirah. And that deserves you to respond from wisdom and make these decisions intentionally, purposefully, from wisdom and not from panic or depletion. So some of the things I want to leave you with today is some questions, right? Like checking in with yourself and asking, am I making this decision or leaning towards this decision from exhaustion or clarity? Like, what are my patterns here? Has that been healed? Or am I trying to escape it? Maybe this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is creating this for you to come back to him so these things can be healed within you. And then when that is healed within you, you start operating from a different internal system, right? Internal belief system, internal connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and operating from wisdom rather than your ego. And if I take the invitation to slow down, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to show me here? And what would choosing from taqwa look like? So everyone deserves, like our birthright is peace in here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us on the fitrah that way. And you deserve confidence in your choice and your decision, with alignment with your identity, your core values, and what you want for yourself in this life and the next, without regret. And that's the biggest thing that I support women with, is not regretting their decision months or years down the line. So if you're contemplating divorce, I invite you to slow down. That's because that slowing down might save you in this life and the next. It might save your marriage even. I don't know. It might save what is important to you. So slowing down and pausing and going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sitting with yourself in the discomfort, in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if this resonates with you, send me a message, clarity, and let's do this the right way, in a way that you can feel good about yourself now, and you can stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, like, I went according to how you were guiding me, and I turned back to you for this. So this is a perfect opportunity, because this is what Ramadan is all about, increasing our level of taqwa. And also it gives us an opportunity to slow down, and shaitan is locked up. All we have is our ego, really. So learning how to sit with that. And I invite you to do that, and look forward to connecting with you. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.